Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche, and it's turtle time. So it's an exciting time of year. The turtles are moving around, and we can be good stewards. And one of the ways we can do that is being responsible and observant drivers. And we can watch out for turtles crossing our roads, especially between wetlands and the streams where they overwinter as they're moving into forested wetlands, other kinds of open woods and wetlands, and meadows where they're feeding, they're breeding, and they're trying to find open places with loose soil where they can dig nests and lay their eggs. I'd like to do a rare species spotlight this time on Blanding's turtle. So Blanding's turtle has a stronghold in Michigan, and I want to talk about this species because I see it a lot in the Midland area. It is important to watch out for all turtles trying to cross roads and ORV trails, as well as snakes, because they'll be sunning themselves or moving through as well. Blanding's turtles are one of our more terrestrial turtles, and because of that, their smooth shells have a higher dome. They tend to be dark in color with light yellow spots or streaks. And some of the very telling characteristics are the yellow chin. They have very long necks if you get to see them with their heads extended, and the whole bottom half of their neck is bright yellow as well. And they have a little notch in their upper jaw, which makes them look like they're grinning. So they're one of my favorite turtle species, and we really need to help them out. The adults get 6 to 11 inches long. They are special concern in the state of Michigan. So they're not protected by our threatened and endangered species laws, but they are protected under an executive order with the DNR. So don't take them out of the wild, don't collect them as a pet, and they are being considered for federal listing within the next few years. So they have a lot of things going against them. It takes them a long time to reach breeding age. Their young have a very high mortality rate, especially with increases in predators like raccoons. And they suffer from habitat loss and fragmentation as construction happens in their habitats, roads are built or become busier, and invasive species take over. And then again, they're also collected for the pet trade and pollution and disease. So with all of those things, I wanted to talk about what we can do to help them. So one of the easiest things we can do is not run them over. So be careful as you're driving, pay attention, and if you spot one, stop, pull over, and help them across the road. So kids, this is something you can help your parents do. They have a lot on their mind. They're trying to watch what other drivers are doing. You can help your parents spot things along the road. And then drivers, you need to be aware of your surroundings and the timing. So when turtles are active, especially right now, the end of May through the end of June, these turtles are really moving around trying to find good nesting sites, and that's when we really see a lot of the road crossings. So what you need to do is if you spot one, and they're pretty easy to see because of that higher dome shell, just pull over as quickly as you can. Make sure you're scanning the roadside as you're pulling off. Where there's one, there could be more. So pull off the road carefully, throw on your hazard lights, open your door carefully. Certainly don't put your safety at risk. And then as you approach the turtle, confirm the species. It's a little harder to pick up snapping turtles. Blandings are really easy. They may hiss a little. That's the worst they're gonna do. And pay attention to what direction their head is pointed. You wanna help them across the road in the direction they were trying to travel. So I've been looking the last couple of weeks for an actual Blanding's turtle to be able to show you this process. I saw a dead one on the road today, and I really thought about picking that up to show you, and by the time I got back to it, somebody had really smushed it. So we're going with Plan C, which is my dog's turtle toy, but it'll make my point. So for picking up a turtle, you never want to pick them up just by a leg or by their tail, which my dog has eaten off. You never want to do that. You can really injure them that way. It's best to grab them on the top and the bottom of the shell between their legs, and that way your hands are away from their head and it's really easy to pick them up. Some species like Blanding's turtles can partially close their shells. Eastern box turtles can close them completely. So just make sure you don't get your fingers in between the shells. Grab the top and bottom right behind the legs and move them safely across the road. It's best to put them into existing vegetation as close as you can. If you move them long distances, they're apt to try to double back to where they were trying to head in the first place. So if it's safe, it's always good to try to record habitat conditions where you're observing them, the location, so that you can do some reporting, and whether you have male or female, any other general health observations. So one thing you can do while taking pictures, if you have a tape measure, you can use your hand for scale, measure the length of the shell. This one's about 9 inches, so this would be good Blanding's turtle size. And then, male or female turtle. If you have time to just gently flip the turtle over and look, and if the underside of the shell is flat, that's a female. If it is concave, that's a male turtle. So those are all important observations to make so that you can report. And there are a couple of places you can report. There's the Michigan Herp Atlas, which has an online submittal as well as a phone app. And if you're observing a rare species like Blanding's turtle, you can also report to Michigan Natural Features Inventory. They have an online form for reporting rare species observations. And another thing you can do if you live within this turtle's suitable habitat, so they're in a lot of different kinds of wetlands, especially where they're connected adjacent uplands. So look in woods, lawns, gardens, even adjacent farm fields. You can scan your lawn or other places that you're going to be using vehicles and heavy construction equipment when they're active. So that's the months of April through the end of October. You can raise the mower blades if you're mowing a lawn or taking down tall vegetation and it's hard to scan. Raise your mower blades up 8 inches, at least 8 inches above the ground, and that'll help avoid injuring turtles as you're mowing. You can try to do work with equipment during the inactive season, so over the late fall and winter. A note on that, these turtles do hibernate underwater, so if you're going to alter water levels in a pond or a wetland, don't do that November through March, because you don't want to draw down the water and end up freezing the turtles. So those are all important things that you can do. If you see a female laying eggs, you could consider doing some measures to protect the nest from predation. And I found a really great resource on that on the Minnesota DNR website. So I will try to post these resources to our website so you guys can circle back and read more. But I thought that was a really good handout on preventing nest predation. And honestly, you can just learn more in general about all of our turtle species, their life histories, their habitat needs, and you can restore properties, whether it's your own or you volunteer on a public land site, that help provide safe connections between wetlands where they overwinter and feed and breed, and upland habitats where they nest. So there's some great resources out there if you want to learn more. Michigan Natural Features Inventory does really nice rare species abstracts. So here's the one for Blanding's turtle. And several organizations do field guides. So here's one from Michigan State University focused on reptiles. And then there's this great resource for doing best management practices in Michigan by Herpetological Resource and Management. And then the Partners in Amphibian and Reptile Conservation also have habitat management guidelines. So these are some of the favorite places, favorite resources I look up information when I'm thinking about turtle habitat restoration. So I hope this is helpful. Help me protect and restore habitat for our great natural heritage and this wonderful turtle species. Thanks for listening.